But when you're just talking about the attention that will be on him from day one of the college football season until the night of the NFL draft, there will be nobody with more eyes, ears, and attention on him than Shedeur Sanders. He will be the most polarizing, I think, NFL draft prospect that we have ever seen.
Okay, let's get it. Bitch, let's get it. Woo!
GEGP, good evening, good people. This is Hot Takes and Trending Topics, Thursday, May 2nd, 2024 edition. Got a couple of things we got to talk about tonight. I want to talk about the 2025 NFL draft class. I want to talk about Justin Fields. More importantly, I want to talk about the cycle that we are in, the cycle that we've just come out of, the 2024 NFL draft, because that is what's at the top of everybody's mind right now. Everybody's trying to figure out where these players are going to slot in. What's it mean for other players? What's it mean for the rookies in this year's class? What's it mean for next year? It's a lot of conversation about these guys going on. I'm seeing Brock Bowers, his landing spot is no good, and this wide receiver and that wide receiver is going to overtake this player. And we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about expectations. I want y'all to engage with me. I debated doing this live because I really want to interact. I want to hear what y'all are saying. I want this to be a conversation. So make sure, get at me in the comments. I want to read some of these off on the next episode. And I'm trying to figure out the cadence and the flow of this. Is it going to be Tuesday, Thursdays? Is it going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday? We'll figure it out. But make sure you engage with me below in the comments. And if there's a topic that strikes you a particular way, holler at me. I really, really want this to be a conversational type show. So let's talk about where we're at right now. NFL draft was literally a week ago. We had the first round. If you were here, appreciate you. The draft party was off the damn chain. But now we're at this part of the process. We're at that stage where everybody is just talking about what we believe these players are actually going to do next year on the field. And one of the biggest spots and one of the biggest landing situations that I continue to see people kind of all over the map. There were some reports that a player was going to get traded the other day. There are reports that this and expectations for the rookie that was picked in the top 10. And I'm talking about the Chicago Bears. You know, we sit back, and I was thinking about, I'm driving home. Everybody's trying to find who potentially could be this year's version of the Houston Texans, a team that was projected or thought to be, you know, one of the bad teams going into the NFL season, and they flipped that joint all the way around. Damn near made a run at the AFC title game. One game away from the AFC championship game with rookie head coach, rookie quarterback. Who could that be here in 2024? You know, some names, New England Patriots get tossed out there. Here are a couple of other names, the Arizona Cardinals. I'm hearing that floated out there a little bit as a team from the NFC West that can kind of turn things around in one season. And I'm looking at the draft and I'm looking at these situations. It's the Chicago Bears, right? And it's not that the Bears were awful last year, so I don't want to put them in the same category as where Houston was. They weren't picking number one overall with their own pick. That came from Carolina. But when you just look at the Bears, and towards the end of the season, I believe the second half of the 23 NFL season defensively, that was they made some significant improvements on the defensive side of the ball. Matter of fact, I know late in the season, there was still like a mathematical chance that they could have made the playoffs. A lot of shit needed to go their way, which it didn't. But you talk about the Bears, and most of the time, you know, with a rookie quarterback landing in a situation, you got to temper those expectations to get the Justin Herbert type seasons, to get what Joe Burrow was able to do in limited duty his rookie year, and what we just saw C.J. Stroud do this past year, being a high draft pick. It just doesn't happen often. You can't place that level of expectation on a rookie player day one. But man, if you play ball, if you've been on a high school field, a college field, if you watch this and play professional ball, just think about how beautiful it must be for Caleb Williams. And picture this. I got to set the scene for you. Just Caleb Williams is his receiving core and the weaponry that he walks into from day one. So you go out there, you start practice off, you got defense over here, offense over here. Offense lines up, running shit against air. And Caleb Williams walks up for taking first reps and goes up there. The coach has got the ball. He's playing the center. But right to his right, because they're running 11 personnel, right? So shotgun, right to his right. You got DeAndre Swift right there to his right. And then you kind of look up, and there's 6'5" Cole Kmet, who just had a 700-yard season, right? Pro Bowl caliber player right there at tight end. You're like, damn, all right, got me a big tight end right there. And you look to your right, Oh, there's all-pro 1,300-yard receiver DJ Moore. That's nice over there. Let me work my way back. Oh, look here. In the slot, we've got Keenan freaking Allen right here in the slot. Let me look a little further that way. Oh, it's 6'2", 6'3", Rome Odunze, the first-round pick. Like, just walking out there to those positional pieces on the field, how do you fail? How do you fail, Caleb Williams? I am excited about what he can do this year. I'm also a gambling man. I like to dabble in the DFS space and the betting markets, and I'm paying attention to where the books have opened up some of these passing yard lines, these receiving yard lines, these touchdown lines. Caleb Williams, Underdog Fantasy, right now you can put in a season-long slip with Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, but his passing yard number is 3,500 yards, highest of all the rookie quarterbacks. You work your way down, you've got 3,200 yards for Jaden Daniels, 3,000 yards for Bo Nix, 31 for J.J. McCarthy. And then you go to Rome Odunze and you look at the receivers. Marvin Harrison, over 1,000 yards, projected to do health bets early at this point of the year. Malik Neighbors, 875 yards. Rome Odunze, 625, 675, depending on which DFS site you're looking at. 700 yards, depending on the book. So anywhere from 625 yards to 700 receiving yards are what the Vegas odds, right, and they are not in the business of losing money, have sort of placed on Rome Odunze coming into the year. I hear that, and I think that'd be a hell of a season for Odunze. To go out there and get 750 yards as a rookie when you're sharing the field with DJ Moore, with Keenan Allen, with DeAndre Swift, with Cole Kmet, with Gerald Everett, and a quarterback that's definitely going to run the ball, not as much as Justin Fields did, but he's going to absorb some of the touches offensively by way of rush attempts. Caleb Williams is a dual-threat type quarterback. Yet I still continue to see people just shit on Keenan Allen. Odunze is going to come in and be better than DJ Moore, and they're going to trade DJ Moore, and he's going to be better than Keenan Allen from day one. Sure, there's a world in which that happens. But, man, this man played 13 games last year, and we get it. Keenan Allen ain't going to play all season, so I'm not sitting here arguing that he's going to play all 18. But in 13 games, he had 150 fucking targets for 1,243 yards, 7 TDs. I mean, come on, man. Like, he's far from cooked. He may not be the same Keenan Allen that he was 2018, 2019, 2017, no doubt. 32 years old, be 33 when the season starts, just turned 32 years old. I am not predicting and or projecting Keenan Allen or DJ Moore to finish with lower receptions, yards, maybe touchdowns than Rome Odunze. And that is not an indictment against Rome. I don't know why so many people think when that statement is made that it's a dig on the player. Absolutely not. The dig on the player is when you have this expectation that he's going to walk onto an NFL field and drop 1,500 out the gate, and when the shit don't happen, you call him a bust. Oh, only 800 yards. He's sharing a field with Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, and a quarterback that's going to run the ball. It's like there's a disconnect between fucking fantasy land and real football. And it's okay that Rome Odunze is not projected, or we don't have the belief that he's going to go out there and drop 1,500 yards on the NFL this year. It has nothing to do with his dynasty value, any long-term. Right now, in this season, there's going to be an acclimation period, and this is good for him. I mean, he's a young, talented, top 10 player. There's nothing that's going to derail his trajectory, absent an injury, which we knock on wood. We don't pray for that. But this expectation that these guys are going to come in and just unseat and usurp everybody in the building, how many years are we going to continue to do this? I saw some rankings today. Shout out to, can't think of the individual who it was, or I would give him credit. But he put his rankings out for the wide receiver class and what he expected them to be. Like Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver 1 in the class, and I expect him to be an elite wide receiver 1 in the NFL. And he kind of went down the list, and despite the order, there were only 3 receivers that this individual had sort of projected or predicted to be true number 1 target guys for their team. Wide receiver 1, it was Marv, it was Malik, and it was Rome Odunze. Everybody after that, Keon Coleman, it was wide receiver 3 first, then 2/2. Ladd McConkey, WR2. I'm reading these. I'm like, this is how I feel. But yet, I'm looking up and down my timeline, and McConkey's going to come in, lead LAC in everything out the gate. All right, leading receiver, no doubt. Brian Thomas, he ought to lead the Jags and receive. Just Christian Kirk just obliterated. And here's the thing. I'm not sitting here looking at LAC thinking that Josh Palmer or Quentin Johnston are any type of superstars. But if you really believe that they're not going to be on the field, Ladd McConkey will be as well. But like, you're crazy. You're crazy if you think that these rookies from this class are going to usurp everybody. And I'm starting to think, just a theory that I have, and I'm going to end with this. And here's where I want your feedback. Comment below. Let me know what you think. I think we are approaching wide receiver bubble territory. I think the bubble is going to break on the wide receiver market for fantasy football, how these receivers are perceived in the NFL. I think we're about to have, I think the market is going to pop. There are so many talented receivers in the NFL, and surprisingly, you would think that the NFL is everybody is running 3-4 wide receiver sets, and that's not the case, right? You got some of the best teams in the NFL, San Francisco 49ers, the Miami Dolphins, who don't even deploy 11 personnel as the primary personnel package. That's where you've got 3 wide receivers and 1 tight end on the field. So I think there's going to be a bubble. And what I believe is going to happen, just mark this down, like star this video. We'll come back to it in a couple years. But just vibe with me for a minute. What if some of these teams, even in the round 1, like Ricky Pearsall goes in the first round? Like, is he really a first-round receiver? I don't know. It's debatable. You look at all the numbers in the pro. It doesn't look like what a first-round caliber Marv or Malik or Odunze would look like, but he was selected in round 1. Leggett, you can go down the line. McConkey, is he really the 34th best player in the class? I don't know. Maybe. Hell, yes, he is, because he went 34th overall, so he is. But what if these teams are drafting these players not to come in to be the one? What if the plan for LAC or for Buffalo is for Keon Coleman to develop into a solid, usable asset? If he ends up becoming this alpha, dominant, all-pro Devontae Adams level wide receiver, great. But ultimately, we need you to come in and do a couple of things. We got Dalton Kincaid. We got James Cook. You know what I'm saying? We got Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnston, whatever they are. We just need you to do this. And whereas in the past, they got drafted early. They were high second, early, late first-round pick. They're going to be the guy. Like, what if these teams, what if they just get to this point where these assets are being drafted just to help the team win, to fit a puzzle piece with the team, to fit a puzzle piece of an offensive coordinator? And the cost of acquisition for that squad, what's the 31st overall pick? What's the 27th overall pick? We can't move. We don't pick until pick 60 in the next round. We're taking our guy now. We're taking our Ladd McConkey here. But we sit back and think, well, they took him first. They traded up to the top of the second. That means he's going to be their number 1 target. Or they believe they took Odunze at 9. Like any other class, right? You get a receiver drafted 9th overall. Drake London goes 8th overall. Yes, he gets drafted to the Falcons. Hell yeah, that is your wide receiver 1. But what if, and I know y'all don't want to hear this shit, right? But what if Chicago's plan all along is to pair up Odunze, let him continue to grow and develop? But like, my plan for him for the first year or 2 is to learn, to bake, and develop, and to play alongside Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. And if he earns his way to be throwing the ball more than those guys, then hell yeah, we hit a grand slam. But ultimately, our job is to add pieces around our young quarterback, because getting the ball to multiple, that's how you win. Right? So I think there's a bubble coming. I think there's a bubble coming in the wide receiver market, and you're not going to just be able to lean on draft capital and where the player landed and when they got picked. You're really going to have to dive into that situation, because if the Niners don't trade anybody, hey, what the hell am I doing with Ricky Pearsall? What is that? What is that? So, interesting topic. Brock Bowers, another one of those guys who lands in a spot. A lot of people talking about Bowers today. I'm going to just say I think it's a fantastic spot. Not worried about it at all. You got Adams on one side, Jacoby Myers on the other side, and then you've got this dynamic move, playmaking, space creating tight end, commanding the seams, doing the underneath shit. You got a running back in Zamir White that's not a primary pass catcher. I think this is a smash spot for Brock Bowers. And if Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew can't get it done and they're picking early next year, which we will talk about here in a second, then a young quarterback's best friend is a rookie tight end. So love the landing spot of Brock Bowers. And just temper them expectations for some of these rookie receivers. And let's pay attention to the receiver market as we move forward. Now, again, I think I said at the beginning of this video that there was a player I just did not want to talk about. Thought this would kind of go away. Thought it would go away, but yet we're still here. We are still here, and Shedeur Sanders is still at the top of everybody's mind. Old Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado. And it started the other day. Where a former player, Xavier Smith, transfers out of Colorado, and, he says some stuff, and Shedeur responds, and he says, I don't even remember him, to be honest. Bro had to be very mid at best. And then Mr. Smith, Xavier Smith, responds and says, you never even tried to get to know me. He was destroying guys' confidence. And, he was talking about Deion Sanders. He's talking about Deion, right? Destroying people's confidence. Shedeur responds to him. And this, made news everywhere. Everybody was talking about this. And I kind of sat back and was like, I don't know, whatever. But I'm watching people chime in. And, Stephen A. Smith, everybody's chimed in on this one. My homeboy Lawrence Jackson does work at NBC, put a video out there talking about this. And why is everybody tripping so much about this? He wouldn't have recommended do this, but now it's starting to come out that now he's not a good quarterback, right? Now he stinks, he sucks, and like Shedeur Sanders, for better or worse, and a lot of it is him, right? Is the most hated quarterback in college football. I'd argue to say, let me know in the comments, is he the most hated athlete right now in football? How high? I have not seen this level of just vitriol already for a player in a long time. I believe that this young man, Shedeur Sanders, I'm telling y'all right now, I'm telling you right now. Let me go full screen. I'm telling you right now. I believe he will be the most polarizing prospect that we've seen through this era and generation of news social media cycle. No doubt about it. You can go back to Victor Wembanyama. No, ain't no polarization there. Johnny Manziel, Tim Tebow. Even the Tebow era there wasn't the level of access that exists today. There weren't people doing YouTube videos, and you've got so many different outlets talking and covering this. He will be the most polarizing, I think, NFL draft prospect that we have ever seen. And it doesn't mean that he's the best. Does not mean that he's the best prospect ever. But when you're just talking about the attention that will be on him from day one of the college football season until the night of the NFL draft, there will be nobody with more eyes, ears, and attention on him than Shedeur Sanders. So, is he good? I believe so. I think he's pretty damn good. You look at the numbers. A lot of people look at the numbers, and what you see right now on there on Shedeur is, the sack rate. He takes so many damn sacks and all that stuff, which he absolutely does. But you just look at his numbers, and I'm just scrolling around Twitter. For those of y'all that aren't watching on YouTube, make sure you go to YouTube, subscribe to the Destination Devy channel. And if you're not, subscribe to the podcast, then you know what I'm saying? Go over there and do that. Go over there and do it. Go to Destination Devy, go subscribe to the podcast feed. But his final stats last year, 3,600 total yards, 27 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 88.7 PFF grade, which was one of the best in the country. You see PFF talking about him right here in the fourth quarter, because we know we like them quarter stats, right? J.J. McCarthy, shout out to him. 75% completion percentage, 669 passing yards, 7 TDs, no picks, 152.9 passer rating, 95 PFF grade. I mean, he had an incredible fucking season, right? Let's just be real. Did he get his ass sacked a lot? Absolutely. Took a lot of sacks last year, ran into sacks, took sacks, but let's not forget the team was not good. The team wasn't good, and here's my thought on the whole Colorado hate. Deion I mean, they're confident first and foremost, so people don't like that. They're confident and bordering on that line of arrogance. But you know what? If I was Travis Hunter, I'd probably be a little arrogant too. If I was Shedeur Sanders, I probably would be a little arrogant as well. But what's funny to me about this whole situation is when Deion Sanders accepted the Colorado job, everybody said it was a shit job. Don't take it. The team is awful. You're not going to win there. Everybody said. I think the over-under for their win total was 3.5 on the season, and people were like, slam the under. 3.5, slam the under. Comes in, the hype, the level of excitement, even the game against Colorado State. I remember watching my timeline, and people were like, why they have this on over this game, and I'm sick of hearing about Deion. So people were already not feeling the whole situation in general. I'm coming, I'm bringing my luggage, the Louis. You know, we say we want real. You want to really know who people are, and you don't want the fake, and you don't want the bullshit. And then when people come and be real, then you don't like that. Don't be too real. Don't say it like that. Be real how I want you to be real, but don't be your true, authentic self. Whether you like it or agree, you want it or you don't. Which one is it? But he came doing that, and then the college football season started, and you know what happened? They fucking won. They won the first game that they were supposed to lose versus TCU. Then they played somebody else in week 2, and they won that game. Then it was like the Colorado State game. They won that game. It was like a double overtime game, and I think they got foot put in them by Oregon. Maybe they won one more in between that. But ultimately, you know what I'm saying, they got their shit kicked in as rightfully should afterwards because the team was not good. But Shedeur Sanders did his damn thing. And in the midst of winning, you know, he also did some other stuff that I think people, again, the era that we live in, right? This right here, the watch, right? Flexing the watch, showing the watch off, doing the Shedeur, people called it. And folks didn't like this. They did not like this at all, right? Showing the watch off when he wins, wearing the jewelry, flashing the bling. My thing to this is, like, who cares about this? Like, people are so fucking soft, man. You know, you don't like this, but when other athletes, when Justin Jefferson is gritty in and the whole LSU team, they jigging on the sideline, that's okay. When they're doing that in the end zone, that's all right. Grittying over people. Jamar Chase Moss, somebody gritty right on top of him. That's cool. Johnny Manziel, money sign. I don't have any issue with this. I think this is just anybody upset that he's doing this, get the hell out of here. He's having fun. He's playing football. He's talking shit, and that's what happens. The interaction with the teammate, again, did you have to do that, Shedeur? The answer was no. Like, he didn't have to do that, but I played in high school. I also played a little bit of ball in college. People talk shit. You transfer out, like, people want to talk. You couldn't hack it. You know, that's like that to me. The whole people, oh my God, the character concerns, the character. Oh, just awful character because he just ripped his teammate. Well, he ain't his teammate anymore. He transferred out. And, like, I'm just sorry. Like, where we're from, like, that's just soft talk. I mean, you might be mad. All right, you're a bum. You transfer out. You couldn't play corner. You couldn't hang. Maybe he ain't good enough. Like, it's not, to me personally, like, it's not that big of a deal. You want to judge his play on the field, but to say all these character concerns, it just seems a little wild to me. And yet today, literally, few minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, before I press record on this video, both Field Yates and Mel Kiper are on shows, outlets, platforms, media, wherever they're at, and they're saying that the floor for him is top 10. Mel Kiper right now, he can absolutely be the number one pick in the draft. So what is it, right? Why is there so? And I want y'all to be honest with me. Is it the arrogance? Is it the cockiness? Because, I mean, if it's just sacks and all of that, okay. We could really break down the context as to why. Let me know in the comments. Shedeur Sanders, hated, love him. Do you want him on your squad? Tell me why. Tell me why besides the moral compass of him being mean to somebody on X. Like, come on, man. If we really gonna do that, then there's probably a lot of people that y'all might idolize, like, watch, that you probably don't need to fuck with if they're just too mean. If he was just too mean for your taste. So, Shedeur Sanders, interesting one. Quickly, this one, I mean, golly, man. Justin Fields. The running back, Jaylen Warren, is on stage. You can see it down here. He's on stage. And you got Cam Hayward right there. And I would press play, but you can't hear it. But long story short, Jaylen Warren asked the audience, do y'all want me to return kicks? And, they're like, oh, no, don't do it, Jaylen. Warren's like, damn, man, I can return kicks. And Warren says, yeah, our special teams coordinator was talking about putting Justin back there to return some kicks. Man, what a, it is not sad what's happened to Justin Fields. It's not. It really isn't. And I know I was on the Spaces with Des Bryant. He talks about this often. Got a lot of other friends who played in the league or played high-level ball. Like, more players are ruined by coaching than they are developed. And sometimes it is the luck of the draw. And he landed in a spot where the infrastructure wasn't great, multiple OC changes, the weapons weren't great, and it just really looks like this is the trajectory for Fields moving forward. Hopefully, he can get a shot to get on the field and, showcase his skill set, rehabilitate that career. But returning kicks, just not what you want to hear if you're a Justin Fields fan. But let's turn to my dog, my man Jordan Reed from ESPN, who dropped a 2025 mock today. And let's just take a look. We're already there. I mean, this seems like there are more people now doing early mocks than ever before. So Jordan Reed dropped one on ESPN. Shout out to him. And we'll only kind of focus on some of the offensive guys and some high-level defensive guys that I know of that I've actually seen play. I ain't gonna bullshit y'all. I've seen Mykel Williams play on the defensive line with Georgia, but I've not studied him. But Georgia's got another one. I mean, you got Carson Beck, who I have as my QB1 in the class. He is QB1 for me right now. It is early. I've actually watched Carson Beck. Think he's an incredible talent. Probably would have had a shot to go in the first round this year. Probably would have been a first-round pick this year. So Carson Beck, I got him as my QB1, and in this mock, he goes number 1 overall. You slide down the board, you got Mykel Williams going to the Commanders at 2, and this is just based on Vegas odds. So that's who they have projected to be picking number 1 next year. The Giants, Will Campbell, heard a lot about him, tackle out of LSU, but don't know a lot about him. Reed has been talking about James Pierce like crazy today. So this was a trade. Carolina was actually picking 1 and traded back to 4 in this mock out of Tennessee. And the aforementioned Shedeur Sanders selected 5th overall by the Raiders. And I just want to read what Jordan Reed says about Shedeur Sanders. He says, with Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, and Brock Bowers on offense, the Raiders can set up a young passer really well. And Sanders is a smooth operator who games centers on great ball placement, 69.3% completion rate last year, 8th highest in FBS, and a calm demeanor when protected in the pocket, which he does. He took 52 sacks in 2023 behind a struggling offensive line, so Sanders' internal clock must speed up before he gets to the next level. He tends to compound mistakes by holding on to the ball too long, which is a problem, but he has a ton of talent and certainly can be the answer for Las Vegas. I see a lot of similarities to Geno Smith in his game. So there goes Jordan Reed, NFL draft expert over at ESPN, mocking Shedeur Sanders number 5 overall. So despite the fact that he's a mean, bad teammate, still pretty high on NFL evaluators boards as well as mine. Kelvin Banks, tackle from Texas. You got Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan. A lot of people pumping him up. Abdul Carter, Penn State's got another edge rusher. Luther Burden III. Luther Burden is the first receiver off of the board to the Tennessee Titans to trade up with the Raiders. Got Travis Hunter, another Colorado Buffalo, going 12-11 to Seattle. And Quinn Ewers, the quarterback out of Texas, here at 12 to the Steelers. The Bucs go cornerback. Malachi Starks, awesome safety out of Georgia, goes to the Colts. And the Bears go for the defensive side of the ball. Patrick Payton from Florida State. Don't know who he is, but I do know who Tetairoa McMillan is. He is my wide receiver 1 in this class. They call him T-Mac, 6'5". Imagine if Drake London was a yak monster and explosive as hell. That's McMillan. T-Mac is a dog. Burke, cornerback out of Ohio State. We got some more LSU tackles going to another LSU tackle going to the Browns. Rams going back to the defensive line. Falcons going defensive line. Then we're getting some fantasy relevant guys here. Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State, going to the Jets here. Pairing him up with Garrett Wilson and Malachi Corley. Colston Loveland, tight end from Michigan, the tight end 1 in the class, Going to the Miami Dolphins, you got Harold Perkins. I once thought he could be the number 1 overall pick. Linebacker going to the Houston Texans. That would be a problem for the NFL. Harold Perkins is nice. You got Evan Stewart, wide receiver out of Oregon, formerly of A&M, going to the Dallas Cowboys. Isaiah Bond, Texas wide receiver, formerly of Alabama, going to the Buffalo Bills. So again, I'm looking at what mock draft people are doing and where they're slotting guys at. Like, think about this. Jordan Reed is as tapped in as anybody, and he understands that the Chargers took Ladd McConkey at the top of the second, and still, in his projections and predicting, he thinks that they need a number 1. He believes that they need a number 1 wide receiver, and that's why he mocked McMillan to the Chargers. So I'm just tea leaves, right? Tea leaves. Love this for the Cowboys, getting Evan Stewart at 26 to pair with CeeDee Lamb. You got the Lions shoring up the edge. Got a Landon Jackson going to the Baltimore Ravens, and no wide receivers going to the Chiefs or the 49ers. So just interesting to see, who is on the board and who we should be paying attention to early in drafts. Isaiah Bond to Buffalo, as they got Keon Coleman, but they need to add another player to that offense as well. So 2025 class, a lot of people talking about it right now. Oh, it's not going to be good. The class isn't good, yada, yada, yada. I'm not buying any of that shit. Don't believe any of that. Half of the people that were drafted in round 1 this year weren't in anybody's first round mock last year. So screw all of that shit. It's going to be a good class. I can assure you of that. But that's it. Justin Fields, Shedeur Sanders, 25 mocks, 24 expectations, hot takes and trending topics. Thursday, May 2nd. Appreciate y'all being in the building. Hit the thumbs up button, like, and subscribe. We got more content on the way. Turn those notifications on. Stay tapped in. See y'all next time. I'm out. Peace.